Good morning and welcome to another episode of Bubba's Garage. I hope you guys have had a fabulous day thus far. Guys, today is finally the day. The day we're going to install our dual battery kit by Genesis Offroad. Honestly, guys, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this install video because I believe Shane has done a phenomenal job over there at Genesis Offroad. Yeah. So I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can check out his video if you have any questions. But you never know, right here on Bubba's Garage, things never go as planned. We always run into an obstacle or two. So definitely stick around the latter parts of this video where we give you our tips and things that we liked and things that we didn't like, in addition to, well, our Bubba thumbs, whether this is a viable product, value for the money, that you should install on your Jeep Wrangler. We also have something really interesting that we're going to be doing on the battery kit for our rig that we pull behind our Jeep. So that's definitely something you're going to want to stick around for. We're not going to do that in this video, but in a future video right here on Bubba's Garage. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the crap button on the notification bell so you'll get notified when we come out with a new video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, guys, we're going to get started. We're going to pop the hood. We're going to take all of that stuff on the passenger side of the vehicle out. Just about every single bit of it.
Just about.
Yeah, so it's not going to be that bad. I don't think so. Are you worried?
A little bit.
Well, there is a couple of spots where you have to cut some things in half.
Where you will have to cut some things in half.
It's not the first time we've cut things in half right here on Bubba's Garage. If you haven't checked out our Alpine I-209 installation on the Jeep Wrangler Winter Edition, that we had to cut the dash in half for that.
Yeah, my heart sank the entire time.
And it's probably one of the best installations we've ever done right here on Bubba's Garage. That was pretty easy, and honestly, at this point in the game, you kind of think you're about halfway done with the installation. That's wrong. That's wrong. This particular part probably took about 30 minutes. It didn't take that long at all. This is a great opportunity at this moment to clean up things like your air filter. If you have an air compressor, blow it out. If you don't, you know, bang out some of that dust out of it a little bit. And if it's bad, might as well go ahead and replace it. Next up, we're going to install the new tray. And this is where the obstacles start to come in. And it's not really obstacles. It's just we got to do a little bit of cutting. We're going to cut on this tray as well as our Evap solenoid hoses and things like that. So we want to take our time and make sure that we get those right. So let's go ahead and install this tray.
The cool kids are going away, away, oh. We're an open flame, away, oh. We will not be tamed, away, oh. And we are fools breaking records, singing, away, oh. We make the rules, chasing echoes, singing, away, oh. Open the car and jump on the train. Got one left to live and love on the brain. We're ready to go and ready to move. We got no regrets, we live like a fool. I know that they're probably right, and maybe I'm wasting my life.
Alright, here is where we actually get to do some cutting. Now, I have a cutoff saw, it's air powered, and so did Shane. So if you don't have an air cutoff saw, you might want to use a Sawzall, or a hand saw might be painful, but you could definitely do it. We got to cut off the 3 bolts that actually go against the firewall. We got to cut them short so we can protect our battery. I'm glad I have these tools, but man, this is going to be a little scary.
Cool kids are going away, oh. The cool kids are going away, oh.
So that was a little bit more difficult than I thought. I actually had to take the guard off of the air grinder because I needed to get closer to it. And for some reason, I It's not the air compressor that we have right here on Bubba's Garage. I think it's a tool, but I think we're gonna use this cutoff tool on this air box. So according to Shane in his video, definitely check the links there in the description. We'll need to cut off right through the rib, right down in here, saving this bolt location, as well as the mounting clips for the air box. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the air cutoff tool for that, because I think it's gonna be easier now that the shield is off of it to kind of get it down in there. Other than that, I probably would use a Sawzall.
Probably right, and maybe I'm wasting my life.
This is, I don't know what brand it is. That's probably why it's crap. Guys, come on. Get some better tools. Do not be like Bubba and be cheap. This stuff didn't work. I ended up swapping it out and actually using my trusty handy dandy Sawzall, and it worked out much, much better. Used a little bit of sandpaper to clean it up. Looks great. I think it is ready for installation, but before we do that, we need to clean up the wires, get all that lined out, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, now that we got that done, we need to move on to our Evap solenoid. This is where it kind of gets a little sketchy. You're gonna end up having to cut some of these hoses, remove this, and line this thing up. I think I can handle it fairly well, and then we gotta move some of these wires out of the way, and I think we're gonna be ready to put our batteries in. And I know I'm really tall, but you know, the Jeep has got a lift kit on it, and well, I'm kind of a short kind of guy. So, just something else you could use your old battery for. All right, we gotta pop this off. Shane says a Phillips screwdriver in his video, but I don't think you need a Phillips screwdriver. I think you need a flathead, but let's just find out. That was a little challenging. It was a little hard to get everything lined up exactly the way you wanted it. It was very tight in that area. And I can kind of see where Shane was talking about installing your fuse box first, because then it gives you the ability to move your wires around where they actually need to be. But I almost wish like the fuse box wasn't installed. I'd have a much easier time getting access to that. Now, we got lucky. We have a 1/4-inch PVC hose cutter that we actually use for our RO system for our saltwater aquarium. Actually worked out really good cutting the hose for the Evap. But nonetheless, we did get it installed, and the good thing is that is done. The hardest part of all of this is done. And now we're gonna install the batteries, hook that up, and crank this little fella over. Yeah, not too bad.
No nothing won't stop me now. Yeah, there ain't no doubt. I am the go-getter. I am the go-getter. I am the go-getter.
All right, I know I got a mess here to clean up and that kind of stuff, and that's okay because this goes to our source control system. I'm gonna wire that up a little bit differently using these bus bars. But before we do anything else, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test this out and make sure it starts up and it runs, and well, then we're gonna tell you all about it. Well, my door thing came on, so that's definitely a good sign. Car started, that's another good sign. Oh, and my I-209 should show our battery voltage running 13.9 volts, 14.1. That's actually not bad. Both doors are open. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty much a success. Of course, I got to reprogram all of my radio stuff, and my CB and my accessories here do not work right now, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right, guys, that installation wasn't that bad.
It was better than I was expecting.
A lot better. Honestly, it took us probably about 4 hours, but you got to keep in mind we're actually recording video. We're doing a lot of spot checking, double checking ourselves. So that's why I think you could do it in 2 hours.
Probably
about 2 hours. Here's the thing. I think this kit is really nice. There's a couple of things I want to point out. One, well, that evap solenoid is a booger bear.
Very much
Be prepared to spend a little bit of extra time spot checking yourself, making sure that you get it exactly right. Pushing that tube that they send with the kit is really tight, putting onto the original evap tube. So the hose versus the tube, just be aware of it. Just be aware of it.
Right.
And also have the right tools, because my cutter just didn't cut it, and I think we broke our regulator at the same time. So what else can I say about the kit so far? Installation wise.
Well, there was at one point in the middle of the installation, we were really concerned because it seemed like all the wires were just going to be kind of laying there, flapping around.
Yeah,
but
they
then,
just laid behind the actual battery tray. Just laid there.
Right, but then when we started hooking those terminals up, man, they actually fell into place.
Oh yeah, it gets really tight. Really tight. I mean, look, big, huge props to the guys over at Genesis Off-Road. This thing is designed to the T. It is perfect. A very tight fit. So be prepared to struggle with your battery wires and things like that to get it lined up exactly the way you need it. You're probably going to say a few words that you don't want to repeat. Just heads up. And you'll probably get a couple of scratches. So be aware of that. One other thing I want to mention to you is the bolt location that goes on the fender. Keep in mind that once you install that tray and you push that tray all the way back to the firewall and you install those 3 washer bolts down at the back, you will actually have to remove one of the fender bolts when you mount that. It seems weird, it seems a little off at first, but just keep that in mind. And then last, there was one other thing I think we wanted to mention.
Well, with that fender bolt, when we put it in and we actually slid it all the way back, it didn't quite line up.
It's a very tight fit. You got to watch it.
Don't be concerned, because once you start tightening down the firewall nuts, then it's actually going to push it back out into lining.
It'll line out pretty good. Last thing I want to note is your fuse box tabs. Now pay really close. I'll try to throw overlay here real quick. But pay really close, because these aren't your typical tabs that you would think on most things that you press the tab and release it. You actually have to put your screwdriver in between the tab, twist it sideways. It goes both ways, and then it'll pop right out.
Pries apart.
Hopefully that helps you. And guys, I want to say, if you have any questions about this install, please leave some comments down below. We'd be glad to help you out.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely check out Shane's video over in the description. Shane is the owner of Genesis Off-Road. Did a phenomenal job on the installation, so we didn't really cover every single detail right here on Bubba's Garage. But the reason we're installing dual battery kit is because we got something exciting that we're going to do with this dual battery kit for our rig. So if you tow a rig or you pull anything with you, this might be something you're going to want to check out in a future episode right here on Bubba's Garage.
Oh, absolutely.
Guys, if you like this video, do me a favor, give us a huge thumbs up. And if you really like this video and you want to stick around and find out what happens next right here on Bubba's Garage, please subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you on the flip side. Good night, everybody.
Good night.